Blessed love, royal family, give thanks for life and the life giver, Jah Rastafari.
Rastafari.
This is the African Liberation Network, and I'm the host, Honorable Prophet Daniel. And tonight I'm here with the Honorable Priest Rudolph Bailey, also known as Honorable Priest Bailey of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. Blessed love, my Lord.
Glorify and honor, my Lord.
Yes, welcome. Glad to have you here with us. Yeah, oh, he got disconnected. I'll give the priest a moment to reconnect still. Tonight we're going to reason, interview the brethren, ask him some questions. He had some recent, legal issues within the Congress and also some culturing as far as, the Black Christ and, the resurrection and things like that, being that it's the Lent season and the time period is coming for the resurrection, and the time when they say that the Black Christ was hung on Tuesday and that he hung there for 3 days and resurrected on the Friday. So, yeah, we'll just give my Lord a little moment to reconnect. Oh, there he is. Here, 1 second. All right, my Lord. Blessed.
Glorify and honor, my Lord.
Yes, I. So, I just gave an introduction, so, we'll go right into it. You could introduce yourself and tell the viewers when you became a member of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, what brought you to the Congress, that kind of vibes there.
Yes, my Lord. Give thanks. Behold how good and how pleasant it is for us, brethren, to dwell together in unity and in love. It's like the precious ointment upon the head that went down to the skirt of Aaron's garment. And it's like a dew on Hermon descend upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Lord commanded his blessings, even life and love forevermore. So we hail our God, Selassie, Jehovah God, Rastafari, Almighty God, Rastafari, great and terrible God, Rastafari is the Almighty God. Jah who seated in Zion and reign in the hearts of all flesh. All thou most high, eternal Father, Jehovah God, Rastafari. Hear us and bless us, O Lord, keep and sanctify us all. Cause thy holy face to shine upon us, thy children, so that we shall be saved and redeemed. Most high, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari.
My Lord.
Yes, my Lord, I came to the Congress in 1977, in August of 1977, as a Sabbath service. And when I, after the Sabbath service, I left, and after 6 in the evening and went home. And I kept, going to Sabbath service. I was a teacher at the time at Jamaica College, and I kept going to Sabbath service until in 1978. Again, August 1978, I decided that yes, that's it. I want freedom, redemption, and international repatriation and reparation. So if I'm going to achieve that, I can't, work for the government as a teacher at the time. I have to look at one way, and that was the way of righteousness, the way of salvation, the way of purity and love. So I left Jamaica College and went to the Hill, and I stayed there up until now. I'm there up until now, 1978 up until now. However, during the period 1983 to 88, I went to university. I left I left Jerusalem schoolroom, which was the only university in the universe, and I went to another university just to prove that what our father, Prince Emmanuel at the time, Charles Edwards, when there is now King Emmanuel Charles Edward, was saying. So in 1991, when he was sending people to Ethiopia, he sent and called me and said that, he will send some people to Nigeria, he sent some people to Ghana, and he sent some priests, I just say people, some royal priests and prophets to Ethiopia. And he called me and asked me, say, what I'm up to. It's time, he's sending out people now, so it's time for me to come in. So I went in and, you know, I have been working, looking at one thing from that time again until now, in terms of salvation. I've been working salvation from 1991 in the camp, or, with the EABIC, Church of Salvation.
Oh, give thanks, my Lord. Um, so when you came to the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, what what did you do? Did you how did you become a priest immediately, or how did things go when you came there? Just give us a little of your story and your experience within
Okay,
the camp.
okay, Honorable my Lord. The
Yes, sir.
first week in the camp, I was called by our father, King Emmanuel Charles Edward, you know, the elder, the teacher, to priest duties. He gave me my priesthood the first week. He was sending me to deliver some messages to the embassies in Kingston with respect to repatriation. So, he said that I should travel. I should get. He gave me my priesthood. So
Okay.
I have been a priest from 1978. The first week in August, I went there. It wasn't even the born day of Marcus, Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. It was after that. So by the 17th, I was a priest of August 1978.
Okay, give thanks, my Lord. So, um, after that, you say you stayed for a while. You went to college, to university. You came forward again, and so then were you still after you came forward from the university? Were you still helping with, like, say, the agitation for freedom, redemption, repatriation? Were you going out on missions and things like that? What type of movements were you doing within the Congress as
Yes,
a
my
member?
Lord.
Mhm.
Immediately after I returned in 1991, I was called by, the priest, the most right honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edward, our father, to duties. He gave me, it was coming on to the 1st of August, and he said that I should write a pamphlet or write a letter to the gleaner, with respect to freedom, redemption, international repatriation, and reparation, focusing on us in the Western world. So I did that and went off to Ethiopia. And of course, I have been writing documents and letters ever since, and even before that, because in 78, I was the first person who wrote a typed document that was delivered to the government. At the time, it was the 70s. It was, a conference was held in Montego Bay at the Hilton Hotel, and Priest Bobby and myself were sent, to deliver these documents at the ACP conference. It was.
Okay.
So
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 then,
we
okay.
so we have been I have we have been on that track ever since. Most of the documents that were produced before 80, it was produced by another priest called Priest Lincoln and myself. So we have been on the road. When I went to Ethiopia in 1992, I brought up documents there for the government and black supremacy books and so on. And I was told by His Majesty that I should go to the university and allowed the other brethren with me to go there too. So I went when I went in '92. I went to the University of Addis Ababa, and they accepted. I think it was 9 or 11 of us as students, Amharic students, and it was a degree program for 3 to 4 years. But what happened was that their government, the students were demonstrating against the United Nations decision to give Eritrea independence. So Brutus Gali came to the University of Addis Ababa and the students demonstrated. So while we were there, the guns became, were barking and students' blood were shedding all over the place. So that was after I said to the student body that Eritrea cannot become independent because it is the 14th province of Ethiopia, and Ethiopia cannot be broken up like that. And so the students stood up on that occasion and demonstrated against the independence of of Eritrea.
Wow. So that was the Gospel Bells mission that you had went there on,
Exactly, exactly.
and you stayed for how long?
I stayed from the first of the 11th of September, or the 10th. The New Year's is what, the 10th.
The
Ethiopian New
11th.
Year's, 11th,
11th.
right? So I
Okay.
stayed there from the 11th of September to the end of um, April, up to April, somewhere in April.
Okay. And there was
And
some kind of. Go ahead. Go ahead.
during that period, all the priests that were in Ethiopia, if they wanted to go to university to learn the Amharic language up to the degree level, could go because they were all registered as students at the University of Addis Ababa.
Oh
Because
wow.
that's what the father said when I was leaving. He said to me that when you go home, you have to learn the language so that you can speak with the people and communicate with the people properly, and what the mission is all about. So that was one of the first steps I took. I went there by myself. I wasn't encouraged by anyone that was in the camp in Addis Ababa at the time. It's like they were laughing. But anyway, when I went and I submitted the names of the people that that were eligible for to come to university to study the language, and I went back with it to the brethren. They all were excited. Not everyone took up the call, but people like Honorable Priest Paul, Honorable Priest Trevor Denton, and a few more people. Priest Harry Carr wasn't in the country at the time. I left him here in Jamaica. I left him down here in Jamaica. But when he came up and saw that everyone were free to go to university to study the language, he told me that I should get him registered. So I went to the faculty and got him registered. But during the time also, the um, the president of the university, I didn't meet him when I went there, but I met the vice president, and I put the things to him. I said that we need to establish a chair in the university for His Imperial Majesty to revive his work. And he said to me that, yes, it's true. And he showed me where the president's office was and said I should go there and get the permission for the chair because it is needed in the university. But because of the Derg, or the Mengistu government at the time, the war, came to the university, and we had to stay home. We stayed home for some time. So by the time we would be able to go and speak to the president to get these work done. The police started to arrest certain priests, and When I went, after for a couple of weeks, when I went to the immigration office and checked with them why, these things were going on, they said to me that there are certain people who are claiming that they rule Ethiopia and that, we were the only set of people that spent so long in Ethiopia because we were supposed to return long ago. And, so it was blaming some of the priests for, you know, claiming that they are the rulers in Ethiopia. So it went as far as to where two of the priests raised the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress flag, and they weren't told or they weren't sent to do these things. So as a result of that now, a sort of, dishonor and disrespect came upon the Congress in Addis Ababa.
Okay. Wow. So that was a lot that transpired from September until, what'd you say, April of the next
Yes,
year?
until April, right.
All right. And what was the original mission? What were you sent there? What was the group sent there to accomplish?
Freedom, redemption, international repatriation and reparation to explain to our brothers in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, that we are the children who were sent out through slavery by the Arabians, the Americans, and the Europeans, and that it is, through history and prophecy, all nations must return under their own vine and fig tree. So it is time for us now to return home to Addis Ababa, our crowned state, and all the other states in Ethiopia, Africa.
Okay. And so were you successful in accomplishing the mission? The group?
Yes, yes, we were successful, my Lord.
All right. And so
Number
then
one,
after, go
the,
ahead,
the
go ahead.
most, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go through, my lord.
Yeah, the most important success that I could speak about is that we received land and we submitted blueprints. Well, at the time it wasn't the blueprint because I was the one who, not putting myself up, but I was the one who did the floor planning for the land, for the tabernacle, for the food house, for the dormitory and the gatehouse. And I took it to the engineering department of the Ministry of, I don't remember what the name of the ministry now. And the head of the department was one Michael from Tigray. And I gave it to Michael. He was an engineer from Tigray. And I gave it to him. I was with another priest, no, he passed away, Priest Rocco. It was two of us. So I gave the floor plan to him. And he said that the only thing that is wrong with the floor plan was that in Ethiopia, they don't build tabernacles with flat roof. But I missed that out because what happened, it was not supposed to be a flat roof tabernacle. It was supposed to be a dome tabernacle. Because that is what the father said to me when I was leaving, that, a tabernacle for his imperial majesty Emperor Selassie must be built, but it should be a golden dome tabernacle. But, being so, realizing that, the time was going, I just did a very basic plan. So he added now the right roof to the tabernacle. Instead of being a flat roof, he put on the Ethiopian roof. And, the blueprint was ready within a short period of time. We had it there and we were supposed to now take it to another ministry for them to approve it. But by the time that came around, as I said, the police started to arrest certain people. They arrested about 5 of the priests and we're about to deport them to Jamaica. The high priest of Salem, Melchizedek, Jesus of Nazareth in Jamaica, sent a telegram. When I received the telegram, he said that the government shouldn't deport these priests to Jamaica, but they should send them to Ghana. So I communicated that information to the senior immigration officer. And he said to me that I should go to the Ghana and up to the embassy in Ethiopia, the Ghana embassy in Ethiopia, and collect the applications, fill them out, and then return them to the embassy. And the embassy now would keep keep the the immigration people up to date as what is supposed to be done. So I think it was Priest Paul and myself. Yes, it was Priest Paul and myself who did this. So instead of deporting the priests to Jamaica, they were deported to Ghana. That was Priest Harry, Priest Richie, Priest it was five of them, I don't remember, I can't recall all of them still, but this priest was there. He passed off too. Priest, we call him Priest Jackie. Yeah, he passed off. He was one of them that was deported. And two more priests. It was five of them. But when they went to the airport, priest he passed off to now, priest Rocco took them to the airport because the plane was delayed. So they allowed them to come home to the house that we were and, fresh up themselves again. So they freshed themselves and went back to the airport because there was a security guard with them too, that, they would have to return. But while that was happening, Priest Rocco put herb inside of the suitcase, in the pocket of the suitcase. So when they went to the station, when they went to the airport now, the security there found the herb in the suitcase. And then they have to return again to the yard, to where we were living. You know, they didn't come and search anything, but the flight they couldn't go on that flight to Ghana. So it took them another day, but there was security there watching them at the house.
Okay. Well,
So the land and the blueprint was a success. Well, we went to the parliament, and there we met the secretary of the parliament, and he was the one who wrote the letter that we took to the ministry of land, and got the land down by the airport. So that was another success. We met the minister of interior. We went to his office, and he was the one who gave us the permission to keep, for the gospel bells to ring all over Ethiopia. We also had the 63rd anniversary celebration, or what we call coronation of His Imperial Majesty, at the National Theatre in Ethiopia. They didn't want to allow us to get it. Yeah, they put a lot of stumbling block in the way, but eventually, we, Priest Trevor Denton and myself, we went to the commissioner of police for Addis Ababa, and we spoke with him. He gave us his seat. He gave one of us his seat. He was sitting in his seat and he got up. I'm not going to tell you who he gave it to. And he got up out of the seat, and there were two seats in the office. He gave one to this priest and another one to that priest. And he stood up and listened while we were sitting in his seat, and gave us permission to have the coronation celebration at the National Theatre of Addis Ababa. When we took it to the manager of the theatre, he couldn't believe, because he said that we were supposed to be leaving the country because we were deported. But that wasn't the case. It was like he thought that this was what was going to happen because we had spent too much time there. So that's another success. We met the the acting minister of foreign affairs at the time in his office for about 45 minutes to an hour, and we discussed the issues of repatriation. And we were asking for resident permit and other things. He said to us that he wants to help us, but it wasn't the right time. He can't do it right now at that time.
okay. Hmm.
And there are
So yeah.
lots more. There are
Uh,
lots more.
okay. Well, give thanks. That's a lot still. Give thanks for the work that went through. The missions that were accomplished and our success. that came out of the visit to Ethiopia on the Gospel Bells mission. What when you returned to the camp in Jamaica, what did Honorable King Emmanuel have to say? You know, when you gave him a report.
Well, the father himself was not happy with what went on with respect to certain priests because he said that they use the word mash up, they mash up in mission, which we
Mm,
see clearly, because he didn't send them to raise the Congress flag. And these two priests raised the Congress flag in a camp up there. And, they allowed them to keep the flag with them. But, when the commander of the camp left, they raised our flag in the camp. And, they took down the Ethiopian flag and raised ours. No, that was a big disrespect. So His Majesty wasn't happy about that because that is not what he sent us to do. He sent us on a repatriation mission for us to return, to explain to our brothers, to accept us, in Africa and Ethiopia. And instead, these brethren went about, saying that they rule. So, they took down the Ethiopian flag and put up the Congress flag, which was a big disrespect. And also, they disobeyed, the high priest's voice. They disrespect him terribly because even one of the priests said to me that, I'm not speaking, he said to me that, man, it take water. That's what he said to me, when I was telling him that we were in exile in Addis Ababa. One morning I said, we're in exile for 4,500 years. And he said to me, who said that? I said, the high priest, that is what Jah told me when I was coming here. And him said to me, man, it taking water. That him said, Jah had take water, So these are people who never really have any confidence in what they were doing
can you
and the
explain
Father's work.
what that's saying there mean? Where you say man had to take water? What do you mean by that?
That Jah run, that mean him not mentally clear.
Okay.
He's not mentally clear. So you're looking at the Melchizedek, the priest of the Most High, and say, look at him and saying that he mad.
Hmm.
That's what when you say, hey, that take water, you don't know what you're saying.
Okay.
You do not know what you're saying. When you say, man, it take water, you do not know what you're saying.
Okay. All right. Well, so then coming down, that was 1993 return. We know that the father left his flesh in 1994, correct?
Right.
All right. So then now in
Just stick
the
a point, my lord. Pardon me, stick a point
no, no,
because
no problem. Go through.
we didn't finish the point there. When I came in, the father said to me that Priest Bailey, he sent a message with a priest from Trinidad and said to me when I wanted to go and talk to him, but certain priests in the camp wouldn't allow me to because they didn't want me to tell the truth.
Hmm.
So the word reached the father, and the father said that when the priest came back, from to me in gatehouse, he said to me that the father said that I should go to Saint Anne, where I was born, and continue the work there, and I was free to come in whenever I want to. But in the yard, no, it's not going to suit me. What is going on in the yard or in the camp wouldn't suit me because there would be too much word battle.
Hmm.
So there was an opposition there that he was pointing out to me that those people, I wouldn't tolerate what these people were saying and doing at the time. It would cause a problem. So he said that it's better for me to stay outside for the time being. Although I had a house there, he himself had built a gates for me. That is what he said to me in 93 when I came in. He said that the camp wouldn't suit me at the time. Coming from Ethiopia, I went to Ethiopia to retrieve my spiritual, full righteousness. I went, to regain or to uplift myself in righteousness of salvation, purity and love, under the influence and teachings of King Emmanuel Charles Edward. So I was totally and completely, you know, in righteousness, meditating in righteousness of salvation at the time. And still, nothing has changed.
Understood. So, are you free? Do you know, and are you free to share what exactly was being said in the camp? What was going on that would have made it unsuitable for you on your return from your mission?
Yes, there were certain, in 1980, a number of priests, they weren't priests, a number of prophet came into the yard from America. But their intention wasn't totally on salvation. They were, you know, nothing is wrong with what they were doing, but they were, sending off herb to America and other things, and they were doing it from Tivoli. One of the priests used to go to, two of them used to go to Tivoli every day except Sabbath. And, they would package their things and send it off to America. And even the secretary at the time said to me that, we come, for smuggle little herb into America, That's what he said to me, the secretary. That is the priest that took over from me. I was a secretary from, 1978, when Priest Lincoln made his mistake and they cut off his locks off his head,
Oh yeah.
And the father never tell them to do that, But
Okay.
this priest, a priest was jumpy. He's still in the yard now making trouble,
Hmm.
because one of the oldest priests, he's there a couple of years before me. But when I went there, he wasn't a priest. It was after the father left that, they took on priesthood themselves, but they claim that it's the father give them priesthood. But I know for all the years that I was there weren't any priest, you know.
Hmm.
Anyway, they cut off his locks and the father abandoned his way of life and, destroyed the book that he was building at the time. So I became the secretary of the Congress. So I was secretary until 1982 when the brethren start to come in. Lots of them start to come in from America. And of course, they were uplifting the camp because they brought things, that uplift the camp materially and so on. But then the other part of it was, gangsterism, if you want to look at it, because that is what it was all about. So they weren't into the work of His Majesty. There was something else that was more important to them, money, than salvation. So they focus on the money part of it.
Okay. And so you say when you return now, what you said was unsuitable. Is that what the gangster vibe was kind of more taken like I don't understand really what made the camp uncomfortable or unsuitable for the eye on your return.
Right, because these things, I spoke about them. I confronted, the people who were involved.
Okay.
So they never really liked that part of it. Some of them start to disappear, and some people remain. Some people went to the road and start to, do their own thing. So, the salvation road was sort of the people not turning up for service. That is where it started. People not turning up for service. People, still in the kitchen after 6 o'clock. Sabbath morning, nobody turning up for service. They turn up when they feel like. So when I talk about those things and said that as a foundation, and as a royal priesthood, and our foundation is international, we have to set an example so that when people come, they'll see that the kitchen closes at 6 o'clock, which it should be closed from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock every Sabbath, every Friday. But people are there 9 o'clock, sometimes 10 o'clock in the evening in the kitchen just the same way. So, I didn't like all these things because they were breaking the laws and the commandments of the Sabbath. People don't bathe on the, Friday evening. We used to bathe. We know the law is that you bathe from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. The people who after bathe after 3 would probably be the people who, went to the road for half day and come in 4 o'clock or so. But I noticed that everybody was going to the bathroom after 6 o'clock. Most people were going to the bathroom after 6 o'clock. And, I complained about it. The father said to me that I must watch myself. That's when I brought it to the father. I said to me, "So watch yourself, my Lord." So all these things were going on, the roll, I mean, they're not the roll call. What, one person turning up for roll call, two people turning up for roll call, three people. And these are the people who are there, who doing it day after day, day after day. And all these things weren't pleasing to me. So I knew that those things weren't, a part of the Congress teachings. And those things couldn't help us to achieve our aims and objectives.
And
So,
so you
I
said,
I was concerned about the achievement of our aims and objectives and what the public, the international public was saying about us. Because when a youth on the road, left the road Sabbath Eve and come in and see you in the kitchen 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock, they're going to say, wait, what is happening, and so on. As you see people in the evening, Friday evening, don't have on any white turban. And these are people who are there a long time, who should know better. There are lots of things that, the fathers, I used to take to the fathers. So I said, those things not going to, I'm not going to agree with those things. So, it's best for me to stay at my house here in St. Ann
okay.
and go and come and, carry on the work just the same way. But, not to live in the yard every day with them, with the priests and the prophets. Because once they weren't doing certain things, I spoke about it. And that was my fault.
Well, is it really a fault? I mean, uh, I could see how it could cause problems, but standing up for the right is not really a fault, I would say, you know. But I understand what you mean still. So basically you're saying that Dada told you to kind of keep working for the Congress, but do it from a distance, just to
Yeah, from
protect
my home. Yeah, from the home, from
to,
home. Yeah,
to
from my
protect
home. So,
yourself because
when I have, pardon me, my lord, stick up in.
no
When there are
sweat.
important duties, I would come in and do them. Like, you know, the calendar events, the pamphlets, writing to various government officials and so on. I would be in the office to do all those things.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I would be there 3, 4 days of the week. Like if I would probably come in on a Thursday and I would be there until Tuesday sometimes or Monday afternoon. So, I would come in on a Thursday, depending, on an ordinary week, I'll be there from Thursday until Monday after the mid, fasting service, which should be from 6 to 12.
Hmm. Okay. Give thanks. Well, from that story and what you've told me, it seems like you had a pretty um you interacted with King Emmanuel pretty regularly when you were in the camp, right?
Yes, my Lord, every day.
every day.
every day. Because after roll call, if I hadn't to, if I had not, if there was no work on the road for me to do early, which would require me to leave before 6 o'clock or after 6, I would always be at roll call. And most of the times I'm at roll call. Most of the times. After roll call, I'd report to him, and he would bless us. Not everyone, but some people report to him. Just immediately after roll call, I used to go there, go to to his palace, and he would talk to me and encourage me and tell me what he's going to do today and where I'm supposed to go, and so on and so forth. Or, what mission he's on and how I fit into his plan. So
Yes,
does done every day. And if there was a day that I didn't turn up, he would send someone to call me. Yes, he would send somebody to call me and say, I have this to do, go and write this for me. And he would explain everything. I shortened it and then write it out, type it out, took it to him, read it to him, and he would make his correction. There's always things to correct. You're never perfect. So when you take a letter to him or something to him and read it, he always adding more, or he's correcting something that you didn't put right, or I didn't put right at the time.
understood, understood. So now, all right, that brings me to this question because in the study group, the Bobo study group program we used to do on the African Liberation Network. For Lent, we discussed resurrection and Lent, fasting, and all of that. And the topic of the crucifixion of Christ came up. And, in the Black Supremacy book, it says that the Black Christ was crucified in Jamaica 2,000 years ago. And, we, the younger generation, kind of had a question about that because we were like, all right, well, if King Emmanuel was there from, in the 1900s, basically, how could he have been crucified there 2,000 years ago? And when we asked, even the elders didn't really know the answer. And your name was the one that came up because they said that usually they hear you bringing forward that culture. And when the Lent season, the resurrection came on, so we're just hoping you could maybe give us a little clarity on that particular topic and help us to understand what that really means, my Lord.
Yes, honorable my lord. Now, you know that the Romans, Spanish town, was settled by the Spaniards, and the Spaniards are Roman Catholic. They are Romans, they were, they took their teachings from Rome. So Spanish town at the time, 2000 odd years ago, was controlled by the Romans. If you search history and prophecy, you'll realize that the Romans, when Columbus discovered Jamaica in 1494, their first settlement was Santa Gloria, which was St. Anne's Bay. And then they moved from there through the mountains down to Spanish Town because it was more secured for them and much more land area. So that was the capital of Jamaica for many, many years. Now, during the Romans, during this period, not 1494 period, but 2000 odd years ago, Christ was crucified in Spanish Town, near to the penitentiary, that the St. Catherine District Prison in that area. Those people know Spanish Town. He was crucified there, and they gave him the cross to carry from Spanish Town, from there to downtown Kingston. What is downtown Kingston today? There's a mark there today, the War Theatre, when it was in that area that they allowed him to, he took the cross. Now, on his way back from Ward Theatre, from that direction, when he came to 54B Spanish Town Road, what in this history, that was when he fell. He got weak, he was, a little weak, you know. Now, Joseph from Amarteria, that man, helped him with the cross down to Maypen Cemetery. That is what we call Galgata. Galgata. At the time, the sea was right up to Mother White Bridge. There was no Marcus Garvey Drive. There was no industrial estate. There was no St. Andrew Technical High School. Those places are dumped up areas. They are dumped up. So they crucify him right by the seaside. After I left 54B Spanish Town, which, that was where he established his headquarters in 1958, 1st of March. That was where he stumbled. And, Joseph, that person who helped him. So he went down to Maypen Cemetery, down to right where today you have the Trenchtown Fire Station, I think is there. They call it Mother White Bridge. But at the time, there was no bridge there. 2,000 years ago, there was no bridge there. It was just a little walkway, where mule and donkey could carry over. There was no car or anything like that. That could pass there. Although there was none those times, but mule and donkey carts and horses. That's a track for it into Kingston. So they crucified him right there, 2,000 years ago, on a Tuesday. So with all that went on, the lightning and the thunder and the people, Maypen Cemetery is right there. That cemetery is one of the oldest cemeteries in the Western world. Galgata was a place of skull. That's what the Bible show you too. So all those dead rose up. All those dead that were in the grave rose up and confused the people in authority. And also the followers of Christ, those people who used to come around Christ. Anyway, when they crucified him on the cross, they took him off the cross Tuesday night, Tuesday evening. And when they took him from the cross Tuesday evening, they put him in another man's grave, sepulchre that was built there for that man. But, he said, okay, he's going to allow the Father to occupy it, Jesus, the Black Christ, to occupy it. Because then, they believe him dead and all that. Anyway, he was in the grave. Yeah, he was in the grave from Tuesday night. He spent Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night in the grave. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Thursday night in the grave. Now, to fulfill Historian prophecy, he was the Lord of the Sabbath, because that was his teaching all along. So the grave couldn't keep the Lord of the Sabbath in the grave. Satan couldn't keep the Lord of the Sabbath in the grave. So, he had been prophesying that, he's going to destroy this temple, and they thought it was, the temple that man had built, and rise it up in 3 days. So when they saw that happen now, they never know. It's real Sunday morning they realized what was happening. Because when he rose Friday morning, he came, pure, well purified. No one could see him. He was clean and pure, that the eyes of sinful men could not see his glory. So it was after the Sabbath now, because, Friday morning is a preparation day, Good Friday. It was called, because today, we don't celebrate the resurrection. We don't celebrate Good Friday. We celebrate the resurrection, which is Friday morning. Well, whereas the ex-world have it as Sunday. But the eyes of sinful men could not see Jah glory, Melchizedek glory, the Black Christ glory. So it was after the Sabbath they could see him, because he was clean and pure and holy, and they weren't of that standard. None of the disciples, none of the followers around him, because they had doubts, so they couldn't see him. Anyway, it was Sunday morning now, after the Sabbath, that Mary Magdalene, as the Bible would say, the empress now went to the grave to spice up the body because they all believe he's dead. Because I said they all carried out, although he was teaching them, they thought it was the physical temple that man had built. And although he told them that he was going to spend 3 days in the grave, they never believed. The only thing that they believed was the earthquake and the lightning that struck the Tuesday night. Where everybody became confused because the dead get up and walk out of Mapen Cemetery, out of Golgotha. Walk like living like a man. So the other of them get confused and run away, hide themselves. Anyway, Sunday morning now, when she went there to spice up the body, as she would call it, we know it's a structure or a goodie, it's a structure or a goodie. So when she went there now to spice up the body, as she would say, she realized that an archangel was sitting at the door, at the entrance to the sepulchre. And the archangel said to him, ask her, what she doing here? Is, because the father rise already and gone before them. Because, if the and the archangel reminded her of what the history was, that he would rise on the third day and so on,
Mm-hmm.
So it was then now when Mary Magdalene was returning to inform the disciples that they took away Christ's body, or the black Christ's body was gone, it wasn't there. Then the father said, appeared unto him. Because, God moving in a mysterious way, in wonders to perform. We can't doubt the Father, And that is what the brethren them doing. They're doubting Prince Emmanuel, King Emmanuel, Charles Edward. Them doubt him. So as because them doubt him now, he moved from them. He leave them and indeed leave them a body. And them confused us the same way. 94. Because His Majesty, the Prince, leave Jamaica from, after the 17th of August, 93. 92, 92, after the 17th of August, 92. His Imperial Majesty, in the form of the High Priest Melchizedek, had already in Ethiopia, because I don't want to cut it up, but when I was going to Ethiopia, His Majesty said to me that don't leave until after the 17th of August. And during the time he said to me that Priest Bailey is a structure I'm looking to go up in, to go to Addis Ababa, and that's what he said to me,
Mm-hmm.
That is why people, the priest him say in my head I take water. He said to me, say, my Lord, is a structure I'm looking to go up in now. And I never really take it serious because one of the tickets that came to Jamaica for the 63rd anniversary from the Ethiopian airline was for the high priest. And he gave it to another priest. And the priest took it, took his flight to Ethiopia. He's still there. I don't know if he's still there now, but from what the last time I heard, he was still there. When I went up to Ethiopia in 1992, I was taken to a mountain, the mountain of above Addis Ababa, which is called Michael. Michael, the Archangel Michael, that mountain. I was taken there, and I was taken also into the tabernacle. That was an underground tabernacle at the time when he was ruling, When at the end of the evening, when I was coming down off of the hill, in a deep corner, I met the priest, King Emmanuel Charles Edward. I met him coming down. When I was coming down, he was going up. And people would, might be saying, I don't know what I'm saying, but I told you, I met the priest. That's what I'm saying, about the crucifixion, that we shouldn't doubt the Father. I met him going up into Michael Mountain Tabernacle. pure white, and his shepherd rod. So that was the time the bell rang to me now and said, so when just say, him as I struck them and look for go to Ethiopia, So, me just realize what was going on there. But, Mary Magdalene, you know, she never even realized that it was Christ. And this the word, when Christ spoke to him, she remembered that it was Christ speak. And him tells he must go and tell him disciples that then, such and such a thing, and they must meet him such and such a place. That even when Thomas come, we call him doubtful Thomas. Even when him come, him say, he would have to push him on in the side of the wound. A man had 5 bleeding wounds. The 2 feet were lapped, and the nails were driven in both hands. So that's three. It's right. And they place a crown and tough thorn on his head. That's the fourth wound. And the guys them now, the Roman soldier, to make sure to satisfy the crowd, the oppressive crowd, you know, you know, him joke the side and push him sword in at the side of Christ, the black Christ. And him realize, say, well, him dead. He claims him dead. So all these things, the disciples and the empresses them and the prophets them did witness. So they were all doubted. They were all doubtful Thomas. So they couldn't really believe what was happening. So Christ never really spent much time with them because just like how Peter did betray him twice or 3 times before them crucify him, he realized that the heart of people, the heart of man and woman, you know, are controlled sometimes by the evil world, by the ex-teaching, by Rome. So him never spent much time with us. Him just take him flight, home. Because him had already finished him work. So him say, we must continue it, you know. But him say, him would make we walk through a darker road than him travel through. So he came forward, you know. The book that our Empress wrote is very symbolic and it doesn't have all the facts. But, she claimed that Melchizedek was born on such and such a time and had mother and father. But we know different than that. Our history and prophecy told us, something different. So that was when Christ, after he had them same ascending to heaven, so that was the first time now in the 1900 that Christ returned unto us.
Okay.
In the form of Prince Emmanuel Charles Edward, the Black Christ, Melchizedek, priest of the Most High. And also, I noticed that history and literature saying that he had mother and father, but just like what is going on now, but we don't know him as with any mother nor father. He's the one who is the creator of the heaven, the sky, and the sea, the ruler of the universe. He's the one who, taught us about 6 days work and the seventh day rest. That is the first man to come forward from the crucifixion and taught us that. So the first time I saw him, I knew it was him. So, Christ, was crucified on a Tuesday, went into the grave from Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, and rose up Friday morning to meet his Sabbath before the sundown Friday evening, because he was holy, clean, and pure. He was a man of righteousness, purity, and love all along. But in this time now, the doubtful eyes and the sinful eyes couldn't behold him because he was too clean for them. So, him never spent much time at that time with us after the resurrection. Can't hear. The sound is gone. Go ahead, my lord.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, my lord.
All right, pardon me. Yeah. So give thanks for sharing that story, and the question I wanted to ask you, just for the viewers' sake, for clarity, that culture that you just expressed there, that was, where did you get that, the story as far as the Mother White Bridge and Christ being crucified?
Right, from his mouth, from the black Christ mouth.
Okay.
All that I'm saying to you, the crucifixion, he said to me, told me where the crucifixion took place.
All right.
Yeah, he told me that where the crucifixion took place. He said that it was by the seaside, at Golgotha, and you have Calvary up more, just behind you have the Calvary Cemetery. And today, that's the Calvary Cemetery was there all along, and also Golgotha, which is called Mapen Cemetery. So it's a father who told me about it. He was the one who told me that they crucified him by the seaside. At the time, it's, now called Mother White Bridge, but at the time it was the sea that was there.
Okay. We give thanks, my Lord. So yeah, that answers a lot of my questions, and probably a lot of people also who didn't really understand what they may have read or heard before. So give thanks again for sharing what you learned from the Black Christ himself. Yeah, and next I would like for you to explain to us, kind of bringing up more recent issues with the legal battle that you and Honorable Priest Tall T, as far as I know. And maybe I'm missing some of the details too, because I've only heard kind of one side of the story. But if you could kind of explain the nature of the legal issue and the outcome, why was there a legal battle? What was it about? What happened? Just kind of give us some understanding as to why, what all of that was and what happened.
Yes, my Lord. On the 2nd of March, I think it's 2019,
Hmm.
we had the 1st of March, who fell on a Friday. So they had service the Friday night from, after 6, and it went on, it was a all night service. So when I came down in the morning at about 5 o'clock, I saw two priests on the altar. And those two priests, this moment that I came in, they came off the altar. I even pleaded one of the priests, the leading priest, and said to him that the priest that is supposed to carry out the service, the Sabbath service, is not here. And I'm asking you to stay with me and sing the first two hymns, the opening hymns, the two first opening hymns. He said no. He was there all night, and he just walk off. Now, when I came onto the altar, there was no praying mat, you know. So the priest who prepared the altar did not put any praying mat there. And whenever you enter the altar, you pray, and whenever you leave, you pray. So there was no praying mat. So when I came on, I have to pray. I think it was on my towel, or just go down on the ground and pray. Anyway, I asked the priest to go and get the one that was leaving, to go and get the praying mat, because there was none on the altar. Because I never really have any to pray on either. He never really returned. At about 20 past 6 in the morning, I was there singing the hymn, Holy, Holy. And I heard a very, very loud sound, like the roof of the gatehouse was lifted off. And I heard very loud voices on the Sabbath morning. However, I didn't really pay any attention. because I was more focused on singing the hymns, the two opening hymns, until the leading priest who was supposed to carry out the service come. Because if I wasn't there, the service wouldn't start until after 7, because that's what at the time the priest who was supposed to carry out the service came
Mhm.
after 7 in the morning, Sabbath morning. So I was there singing over and over and over when there was only one person in the congregation and one priest at the front gate and myself, three of us. And the priest that was at the front gate never knew the hymn. Because it was a new priest, it was a new, not a priest, a new guard. It was a new guard. Anyway, I stayed there and I, keep repeating and repeating over and over these hymns to see if the leading priest whose service it was would turn up. Now, as I said, he came some minutes after 7. When he came, he didn't have any mat to pray on because I asked one priest to go and get the mat and he never returned. So I was glad when he came anyway. So he joined into the hymn and we closed the hymn. And it was now time for him to read the opening psalm, which could be Psalm 24 or it could be anywhere, but it must include Psalm 24. 7 psalms. I don't remember which one he started with. But I said, okay, this is time for me now to go off the altar because he's speaking to the congregation and he wasn't reading it. He was just introducing himself to the congregation. So I came off the altar because the praying mat was in the open air Nyabingi stand. You know where I'm talking,
Yes,
right?
man.
So when I came into the gate, I saw there was a priest, the prophet George, opened the gate for me. And standing behind the gate, when he opened, you can't see the person, was Priest Roy. Inside of the gatehouse was Priest Edley and Priest Staffa. And outside in the drum stand, the Nyabingi stand, was Priest, Priest, what am calling? Him live down the road. Priest, anyway, I'll get his name and we said to you, Pops, Priest Pops, right? Priest Pops. He was walking up and down the full length of the Nyabingi area, that open air area, from one gate to the next. And the praying pad was in the drum stand. So I moved towards the drum stand now. No, I said to him, oh, is you making all the, when I came out and saw him, I said, I know that he's not clear in his head. So I said to him, oh, it's you making all these noise out here. And he turned to me and said, yes, me waiting you from morning to mash you up. That's what him said to him, say, yes, I'm waiting for you from morning to mash you up. And Priest Iroy, that was standing behind the gate, said, yeah, and when we mash you up, we are going to call the gunman them from the road, down the road, to come finish you off. So, but me never take them serious, me just laugh at it and moving towards the prayer pad now. And Priest Pops come right in at me and he open out him fingers and coming into my eyes now for pour out my eyes out. And it's Sabbath day, Sabbath morning, Anyway, I managed to escape that. And I went into the guardhouse and locked myself, where the guards there. I locked myself there because he wanted to fight me. And it's Sabbath, I didn't want to fight him. So I said to Priest Edley and Itafa, you are leading priest and you sit down inside here and make all this man going on like this in the yard. And look what he do to me and none of them get up and say, no, it's wrong. So I went into the where the priest, where the guard would be behind the cage, locked the gate, and I stood at that like a window now that people will talk through. And the guy came up. This came up, because the priest Pops came up and grabbed me in my white robe through the window and started to pull me through the window because I couldn't believe one man could have so much strength. He actually lift me up off of the ground It was his hand in my robe neck and tear up my robe. And when him do that now, me say, but wait, so me come out now, me open the place and come out. And him confront me now and grab me from my foot and draw me out of the room. And when him pulling me out of the room then now, out of the guardhouse, he beat me up outside. He fell at the door because I never remember that the door was so, there was a step up there. So when he went there, he fell on his back. But him still hold on to my foot. So me try to get my foot from away from him now. And the man them stand up there looking in honorable. And encourage him, Priest Ira in particular, encourage him, for what thing I'm do. So I got away from him and trying still now to go around him to get the praying mat. I went to the food house area and trying to go around, and him come up and throw some stone. Him almost break up the door that you walk from the guardhouse to the kitchen. That door there.
Mm-hmm.
The stone almost break up that door and it cracked. Right now, I think the glass is just cracked. And him running me all over the yard with stone. But me know if I went to my room and locked the room, he was going to come and lick off the door with stone and break up the windows. So I decided, no, I'm going forward to the service because that's where I'm coming from and it's a mat. So anyway, I managed to go and get the mat. I don't remember how I get it. And I went back to the service. Now, months after that, it happened. No one called anybody to any meeting or anything like that. Months after that, or years, maybe I think it's a year or 2 years after that. Shimran Davis came from Antigua where he was for over a year. He wasn't here when all those things happened, all the celebration, his first March and second, the service. He wasn't here, he was in Antigua or Trinidad, somewhere about there, but he was abroad. And they gave him a service. And when he got the service now, usually every Sabbath service, we would sing 2 of the Sabbath hymns, Holy, Holy, Lord God Almighty, and Lord of the Sabbath. He sang none of them. He didn't sing any of them. Him say him can do as him. When I asked him about it, him say, on the other time, say, I can do what I want. I can do anything I want. So I didn't pursue it until after service now, the Saturday, Sabbath service. We were in the gatehouse together. And a couple of brethren were there, and I said to the brethren, I said, brethren, from you are here, have you ever seen a service go up without the singing of the Sabbath hymns? Holy, Holy, and Lord of the Sabbath. Nobody never answered me. Anyway, Priest Morgan said that him carry up service already. Him did carry up a service already. And him never sing them. And the father called him up over him and tell him, say, okay, if you never sing it in the morning, you must sing it in the evening, but it must be sung. So, he must show me, say, him disobey the father, that is Priest Morgan. And they might encourage Shimran, and say, why him do nothing wrong with it. So and Shimran turned to me and said, I'm going to run you out of this place. We don't need you here anymore. As him said to me, we don't need you out here anymore, and out in Bulby anymore. I'm going to run you away from here. So he went and he called on his Sunday. He's not a priest. He's not a part of the committee at the time because I was living abroad and just came in. So he had no authority to call any meeting. He doesn't have that authority to call any meeting. Anyway, he called a meeting and the people went to the meeting. And while we were there in the office waiting for the priest to come to, every Sunday we have a reasoning, to come to the reasoning. Instead, they went to his reasoning. So I never really take it serious. It's after that now, after the meeting, they said that I am suspended, that Shimran suspend me. Right, Shimran suspend me. So I laughed, and they called another meeting the Monday again. And while they were there in the meeting, it was supposed to be Psalms reading. So nobody went to the Psalms reading. So, it was almost late. So I went and I carried up the Psalms reading. After Psalms reading, when I came through the door, the meeting that Shimron called was just over. And his father, Spiegel, Priest Spiegel, came to me and said, here, say, if you do not, if you minister up here again, here, you stinking dirty boy, here, say, if you minister up here again, you know. That was Priest Starty was there, another Empress was there when he said all these things. So what they did now, they suspended me. So I said, no, I am the lead, I'm a leading priest, and I'm a leading priest long before you. I am Secretary of the Congress from Jah was here, and Jah never take it from me, you know. And, through certain businesses that we have done, I was still in charge of the business of the Congress. So with that in mind, they didn't call any meeting and explain anything to me. So I showed them that, the Constitution, they violated the Constitution when they said they suspend me. The Constitution is violated and they abuse my human rights. So Jesus came home and he gave us a summons, to leave the yard, something like that, or, him say we threaten him, right? Him say we threaten him. And all the other brethren them now start to support him. So, we went to the police station. Him say, him lock up the office and say that we can't go inside the office or film it, and we can't go into the office. So we went to the police station and report what he was doing. Now, when we went down to the police station to report it now, nothing really came out of it. But they still, the inspector said to Shimron, said, so how long this suspension going to last? And he turned to the police inspector and said, just as fast as we go back to the camp, it finished. But that never happened. They continue on it and start to persecute me more. They prevent me from going to tabernacle. They pull off my turban and the Sabbath day off my head, grab me around my neck and cut off my breathing and say that they're going to dump me. So when all these things happen now, I decided that, I went to the police and reported it. And the police said that I should take them to the court. So that was how the legal matter started. The police advice was that we should take them to the court. So all the people,
pardon
me?
1 second. I want to hear the rest. But why is it that the brethren initially was attacking you? From the beginning, when you said it was Priest Pops, why was he attacking you?
Well, I don't have any, they want me to be there. So there was a meeting in Mandeville where some brethren from America came in. And when they came down, they usually give certain people money to do certain things for them. So this is what, while the Friday, there was a fire that escaped and was burning like it's going to burn down the camp. So my Priest Fliego and myself was watching the fire. And Priest Fliego phone rang. And he said to me that is the brethren them from America up by Mandeville. That is us. They're supposed to be in the camp, because celebration is the 1st of March celebration. So he said to me, they gather up by Mandeville and Pops is there. That's the same way he said to me, and Pops is there. So I never really take it serious. So they advised him from there to get rid of me out of the camp because I was going to get sacramental rite. And the sacramental rite now, another person, a prophet wanted it, a Chinese prophet wanted the sacramental rite. So he paid them to get rid of me out of the camp.
Okay. Thank you. You can continue from where you left off there.
Yes, my lord. So we took the police advised us to take the court to the case. So what happened? I went up to the office, although it was, it wasn't locked at the time. So I suspended 8 priests, because of their the work that they were carrying on. They participated with Shimron, so I suspended 8 priests, and the whole of them now attack me. They make it get worse. They started to attack me. Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you. Yes, I.
Yeah, they attack me. You know, I took the letters of suspension to all the priests and gave it to them, and they came back at me and started to fight me, beat me up.
Okay.
So I decided now that I'm going to take it to the court to prove to them that what I'm doing is right. That they disobeyed, they break the constitution, and I have the authority to suspend them. They said no, we can't suspend them. So it was Tall T who really um, carried out the legal matter against them. I was there with him, but he was the one who pursued the case in the court. And, I acted as witness for him. So when we went to the court, the court was there for more than a year before before the matter was eventually dissolved. So everyone got to speak and everyone got to say what they want to say, and they carrying people, they brought in evidence and so on. And however, the case was drawn out, taking so long that I said to the magistrate that this court it's taking so long, and she said okay, I'm going to close it off by next week. So when we came the next week now, she gave us a date to return to court. And when we came, when the court, when she gave her, summary, when she summarized the case, she said that she cannot go above the Constitution. She cannot do anything with respect to suspension. She said that she cannot interfere with the Constitution because the Constitution is above the local their court.
Mm-hmm.
She can't interfere with that Constitution. So we should go forward and work out the matter amongst ourselves. So what it is saying to me was that the case that we brought against them wasn't a case that was malicious nor covetous. It was a case that we were seeking a second opinion on suspension. We were seeking a second opinion from an independent authority because the suspension was already issued by the office, and it should be adhered to, because whenever a suspension is issued to anyone, they would have a couple hours to leave the yard or to leave the camp. No, nobody responded. So it was there going on for months and nobody responded. So that's why we took it to court to get a second opinion if we were right or wrong. So with the dissolving of the case, I concluded that what the court was saying to us, that the suspension is in order, but she cannot reinforce it because she couldn't interfere with the Constitution. So we should go now and work it out amongst ourselves. Now, when we went forward into the camp to have a meeting, there was no meeting. Meeting time come, no one turned up. Meeting time come, no one turned up. But at the same time, they gave order to the guards at the tabernacle not to allow me to go into the tabernacle.
Okay. And this,
and they keep no meeting. Up to now, they haven't kept a meeting.
Have you been back up there since then?
Yeah, man, I've been there frequently, man. Every celebration, I'm there.
Okay.
And I'm there for Sabbath. Sometimes I'm there from, I'm there more Sabbath from Friday up to Sunday sometimes, since that happened. After Sabbath, I would leave Sunday because I never leave the camp Saturday evening. So I would leave Sunday after 3 o'clock when meeting is supposed to go up. So I'm there waiting for meeting and none would go up, so I'd leave and go to my house.
And so, from what I understood just through hearsay, and I'm bringing it to you to get some more clarity, is that there was an issue with registering the Congress as an NGO. Is that did that have something to do with the cannabis sacramental rights or something like that?
Yes, yes, because once you are registered, the law, the dangerous drugs law in Jamaica, amended 2015, states that Rastafari who are registered have the right to plant and use cannabis. And we were the only association, the Congress was the only association in Jamaica that was registered at the UN. And we also had registered at the office, the company's office of Jamaica. So those things now would give us the legal right to allow members to plant cannabis on the campus and in the camp at the back. I had applied for that too with the Ministry of Justice that we want to use the land at the back of the camp to plant cannabis. And they gave the permission, you know, and they also gave the permission that we could write sacramental certificates to give to members. So it's the registration of the Congress now had helped us in that way. But it wasn't that reason why the Congress was registered with the Company Office of Jamaica. We had applied to the United Nations as the Father had instructed us on the 5-point agenda that we should seek representation at the United Nations with Her Majesty, the AU, and so on and so forth. So when we sent in our application for registration and acceptance at the United Nations ECOSOC, they rejected it and said that we were, how come we seeking registration at the United Nations and we are not even registered in our own country. They said we have to register in our own country before they could consider our registration. So what happened now? Priest Trevor Denton, Priest Morgan, Priest Fliego, Priest Sheppy, myself, I think Priest Forrester was there. We went, I developed a what you call a financial plan statement. I wrote up the financial statements, but the United Nations required it to be done by an auditor, auditor that is licensed, a licensed auditor. So all these priests that I'm telling you about, we all went to one Mr. Capleton, an accountant office uptown, paid him over $20,000. That money came out of my pocket. It wasn't the Congress money because the Congress, they have money, but they don't put it to use. It's used, for other things like food mainly. So I took the $20,000 out of my pocket and paid the accountant, the auditor, and he gave us the audited statement, and we sent it off to the United Nations, and we also submitted it to the Company's Office of Jamaica, and we got the registration and sent it to the United Nations to show that we are registered in the country where our head office is. Not our own country, this is where we have our head office. We must register with government, in the country where our head office is. So we did that with the agreement, or what is the right appropriate word now? With those brethren agreed to what we were doing because they were there with us every step of the way. So, we got registered in the United Nations, and a civil society, they refer to us as NGO. Now, when they invited us in no, in 2018, I think, 7 of us to the United Nations, but only Priest Talty and myself could find the money to go. When I came back, Priest Figo said to me that, you know, he really want to go to the United Nations, him dying to go to the United Nations. And the next time we go in, we must make sure same going. So he was in agreement with everything with the NGO. Then all of a sudden, Priest Figo and his son turn against the NGO. All of a sudden, Priest Figo and Priest Shimron turn against the NGO. That Priest Shimron went as far as to say that he's going to take down. There are 7 banners in the yard that fly all the time. He's going to take down the United Nations one. And up to today, if you look at the banners, the United Nations banner, my lord, is just like a piece of blue cloth. They stop putting on the emblem of the United Nations on it. They put it there, but you can hardly see it up to today. And we had put it on the office and rub it off, NGO on the office, Shimron and Priest Figo and his family. They call it Jesus and they rub it off. So, after they had agreed to it, after they all agreed to it, because what happened now, the NGO would give the administrative officer, the chief administrative officer of the Congress, the right to the cannabis, the sacramental right. And they didn't want that. They want to give it to a prophet in Mandeville, a Chinese prophet in Mandeville. He actually bought it from them. So they paid him now to get rid of me out of the yard. So it's not really, because every rational mind coming into the camp notice that every priest that minister on the altar spoke about the United Nations, and they must say something about the United Nations, because that is the foundation of the Congress, the United Nations. Without the United Nations, we're not going to have any peace, we're not going to have any security. So His Majesty said it's the only thing that will help us to achieve our aims and objectives, to return to the motherland in righteousness of salvation. So the United Nations have accepted our constitution and legalized it. So that is what the NGO did. Our constitution was accepted worldwide. It was sent to, application, and our explanation was sent to all the offices, all the countries in the United Nations. So, they accept the constitution. So those guys break the constitution. So that was one of the reasons why we went to the court, but the court couldn't solve that problem because it has to be solved by us. Because our constitution is independent of what is happening on the street or happening in Jamaica, in the legal system. So it's just a gang, I would put it, that, decided that a person like me, who they all came there and saw, every one of them came there and saw me, with the exception of Priest Figo, shouldn't, have so much authority. And in fact, I wasn't going to sell the cannabis certificate to anyone, because those that I wrote, I gave them away freely. So if you want to give something to the Congress, that's it. And if you don't want to give anything, you're not bound to. But they sell it for many American dollars. They are selling it for money. And the father said to me that, no, it mustn't be sold. He said, that license mustn't be sold. That him shedding blood for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's our human rights to have sacramental rights. So it mustn't be sold. So I have never sold any. I wrote about less than 15 since, the authority, we got the authority. and not one of them was sold. Is one person gave us $48,000, one person. And I wasn't the person who collected the money either. It was another priest who collected the 48,000. That's the only money that I know about.
See, my Lord. Anything else you wanted to say on that?
No, I just brought it up because you asked.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So,
I mean, I just wanted to get clarity on it because I heard some controversy, and I never heard your side of the story, so I just
right.
wanted to hear it straight
So
from
it
you.
caught, yes, my lord, yes. I just want to conclude on that then. So this sacramental rites, the brethren brought in an empress from America by the name of Dr. Lakeisha Jenkins. I didn't know anything about her. It was a person who they already put on turban name, he came into the camp, recently, not, no, at the time when we're talking about 2019, about 2021, around 2022, somewhere around there. He came into the camp and they already put on his turban and, gave him turban. But that was not the reason why he didn't want turban to attend service or to become a Congress member. His wife was a cannabis advocate. So some of the priests in the camp went to her and recruited her to come and run the cannabis program in the camp because she said that, Rastafari haven't received anything from cannabis. And she's going to make sure that Rastafari gets something from the cannabis through this. So she wrote up how much money people should pay. And she left out, the main things of the certificate, like, the leader of the Congress, she put we, use the word we. And so I didn't know who the we was. So, she started to sell the certificates and collect lots of money. So now she wanted now me out of the picture because I am the only person who was concerned about Congress business. Because I told her that the money that she's collecting should go to finish building the tabernacle and furnishing the tabernacle. First thing.
Mhm.
So she didn't want to use any of money or money she didn't want the money. She was working. So she didn't want all that money for herself. So she sent in, she called some brethren because when her first son died, she called the brethren and they took the instruments, them out, the drums out of the tabernacle, which is breaking of the constitution and wrong, and took it to her house and celebrate, the death of her son. So when that happened now, she and those people were very close, and I was apart because I wasn't a part of this. So she started to buy, Clark's booty and other material and give to certain people, and start to send in money to them. So when they saw that now, they said they have to get me out of the picture. Must get me out of the picture. So Fleego now went onto the road, took up a priest that was on the road, was in the camp from, I was there in the 70s and 80s. He have left the camp for years now, went to America to live and travel all over the world and came back and was in a market downtown. That's where he was. We took him out of the market and put him in my room so that, that they run me out of the camp.
Mhm.
So when I went in the Friday evening, he was in my room and he was looking for his machete to chop me up. But luckily, he never find the machete, so he start to accuse me now of taking away his machete. But then, I showed him that, I'm going to call the police. And the Sabbath came up. So him say, all right, after the Sabbath, he must kill me. That is because Fleego brought him there, to kill me. So to get me out of the room, because them throw out everything that I had in there, burn up some of my clothes. Anyway, him realized his Fleego trap him, that he was doing something wrong. So he told me that, okay, I'm going to take him, he took up his things and went on to a house that was in the back and was there for a little while until a prophet threatened him. So he had to left now and go back on the road. After that brethren left out of my house, out of my room, Fleego took the woman now, husband, and put him in my room again. Can say we have to left up there. Me have to left up there. My name son said, me must leave up there. Them not no use to me. You know, I'm not use up there again. Because he wanted the sacramental right too. Anyway, I managed to get the guy out of my room. Now, what happened now? And they brought another guy from off of the road and put him in my room again. This guy now came in and threw out my clothes, burned them up, took away everything that I had there and leave the room empty. So when I went in, there was nothing inside of the room. And I said to him, I said to him that, no, you can't stay in my room. So he went on the veranda and was living there for more than a year, right beside my room still. So all those things were planned and orchestrated by Fleego and Shimron, Priest Morgan, Joseph Henry, this guy, Priest Joseph Henry, and Priest Donovan Blake, Priest Iroy, 8 of them. And they were the ones who were behind all those things. They went again and they took a guy from off the road who was deported from America. A deportee, they took him from out near to Arnett Gardens jungle, and they put him in the camp. And they tell him that he mustn't allow me to pass the guard, to pass him. So the Sabbath morning, now I want to go to service, and he wouldn't allow me to go to service. So it went that some people down the road hear what was happening and came up and Jesus, confront them. So they thump him up. So when they thump him up now, he went to hospital. And I called the police. And the police came. When the police came, the police said that they can't stop me from going into the tabernacle. Even the court said that too, that they couldn't stop me from going into the tabernacle. So, it's Sabbath, so I came to service. So I went after that, I went into the service because the police was there, so they couldn't stop me because the police was there. While I was in the service, one of Empress Rachel's son, they call him Joseph, he's in America there now. He came up, walked through the north gate, grabbed me around my neck, and I had on a new brand white shirt, a new brand robe, because I was coming from the United Nations. So he grabbed me around it and tear them off of me and pulled me outside through the side gate. While the priest was and the minister laughing, priest Michael was on the altar laughing, and the other priest that was there with him, they were there laughing. Although, the guy came through the north door, not the front gate, He never walked because there was no guard there, so he just walked in and grabbed me and pulled me outside and choked me. And another priest said to him, Priest Edwards said to him that, who going to give him the dead hole? The priest said that, who going to give him the dead hole? So me don't know as him said that at the guy, Lincoln just come up behind me and grab me in my neck, pull off my turban. Next brother pull off my turban. No, him grab me around my neck. And another priest pull off the turban off from my head. And him cut off the ear. Because you must have this way of killing people quickly. But him suffocate me and start to pull me on the ground now. him grab me up before him, and I pull me, push me on the ground with the man around me neck same way. And say, I would dump me. And the other brethren man say, yeah, dump him. So I was there just listening and watching, see what they're really going to do. But I'm tired. When he couldn't hold me no more, so I get tired, so he push me down the ground and walk away and say, me to come back in the yard. This is a little guy that just, this is a prophet. I must tell you, they gave him priest right away. He got his priesthood right away. If you don't understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Because no priest Lincoln on. So he got his priest the same day after I did that. They made him a priest. So, I'm just showing speaking to the world and showing the world because I don't know what they were saying to the world about me. But I'm just showing you, telling you the truth and the right. I'm just explaining myself to you and to the world of people.
Yeah, well, that's the main thing. Is just to get your side of the story out there still. I'm not here to judge anyone personally, and take sides even, but the truth is what stands. So, yeah, ones and ones who was there know what happened. I just as a media outlet, it's my duty to allow people to share their story. It's not for me to really be the judge. Yeah, but give thanks for sharing same way. I'm sorry to hear all that you had to go through. That sounds like a lot. I'm surprised you still go there. Yeah, it sounds
Yeah,
like
they could. Yeah, I'm not going to stop. They can't stop me from going there. I didn't go there. I didn't go. When I went there 1977, 78, when I started living there 1978, I was taking instructions from His Imperial Majesty, through the priest, King Emmanuel Charles Edward. So I didn't go there to, to those brethren because none of them were there at the time, at least. Only priest Fligo, and he wasn't a priest. I told you that is in '90s. Those that brother became priest. That priest, that brethren became priest. He wasn't a priest, because he wasn't interested in things like those. So I am there as a priest, and they can't stop me from going into the camp because they gave me no position there. And all of them, I was the one who teach most of them. When I said teach them, I was on the altar. So what they learned it from me. I was one of the person they learned from. So how could I could allow them in their wickedness or in their selfishness to stop me from praising God? They can't stop me. No one can stop me from praising God. I was birthed in righteousness of salvation. And since I knew Christ, the black Christ, 78, 77, 78, I regained my consciousness in righteousness of salvation. So I know Satan. I know the X way of life. I know the turn down red way of life. My way is the turn up red. His majesty way. Although His majesty, they see him with the red turn down, but that is not his desire. But because he doesn't fight with people, the federations crown him with the red turn down. That means the Britain was the one who ordered it. Because most of the ceremony that went on 1930 on the 1st of November was part of what Queen Elizabeth had gone through. Is a repeat of what Queen Elizabeth ceremony.
hmm yes, my lord. Well, I don't really have no more questions regarding that still. And the time is moving along. So I don't know if there's any final like closing remarks that you had. At the end of the day, I just give thanks for having the eye with us on the African Liberation Network. Thanks for sharing the history about your experience in the camp, your Gospel Bells mission journey. You're working with King Emmanuel as a secretary, and even the not so fortunate news of the legal battle and physical violence and all that stuff. I hate to hear all of that. Really, you know, it's just not. It doesn't shine a good light on the 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 association that Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards established. You know, but yeah, people are people. You know, still. So yeah. But yeah, my lord, if the floor is yours for a minute, if you want to have a closing argument, closing remark, and then we'll seal up the interview still.
Yes, my Lord. What I said, I didn't say it to disgrace anyone, or I didn't say it to discredit the Congress, because I would be discrediting myself.
I know.
But what I have seen, people not sure about what they say, what people say about me. So I just speak the truth. So I'm asking the international public, more so the Congress Universal Internationally, not to see what I say as degrading nor, dishonoring the Congress, but is to, clear up certain misunderstanding that has been going on for a long time. And someone have to speak. And being a priest first, and then secretary, and then chief administrative officer from the United Nations point of view, I think I should explain to the universal congregation that I am no wrongdoer and that I am dedicated to freedom, redemption, international repatriation. Because right now we have 7 priests or 7 members that can attend functions at the United Nations, can bring up our work at the United Nations anytime we want. We have 4 people who we can send to Hague at the International Court of Justice anytime we want to represent our freedom, redemption, international repatriation. And Geneva, we have 4 people that can go to Geneva, if the chief administrator approve them to the International Human Rights Council. So all the doors that black people need to open for freedom, redemption, international repatriation and reparation, they are opened through the powers of the great King Emmanuel Charles Edward. All those doors are open now. So we have no excuse to say we don't know what we are doing or where we are going. Because what the man what the man said to us, they are achieved. The 4-point agenda is achieved. So we are on the right road. And if we had followed certain people, certain priests and prophets, we wouldn't have these doors. These doors would still be closed to the Congress. But those doors are open now. International doors are open to us, priest and prophet, to pursue the aims and objectives in the Constitution. So, we are on the road to success, and we are on the road to returning on our own vine and fig tree. Because on the 16th of December, 2023, the United Nations again invited us to come and explain to them what they can do for us. He said we must come and tell them what the United Nations can do for us. So again, money was a problem. So I paid my way and I went, because these occasions I couldn't allow them to pass me by. So, I squeezed and I went there and I gave them the words of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Selassie in the form of the high priest Melchizedek. Not my word. If you look at the Let Us guidebook, there's a part there that refers to United Nations, and that is what I said over the 3 minutes that I was given to speak. And there were 1,400 different NGOs from all over the world that was here, 1,400 that were invited at the conference room, all. And only 60 or 56 were allowed to speak. And the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress was one of those NGOs or association that was allowed to speak from 1,400 to 1,500 NGOs. So it is important that we are registered with the United Nations, and they call us NGO. So, the key is that we are there.
Yes, my
My
Lord.
Lord, give
Give thanks.
thanks, to the Most High. Selassie,
Yes.
Jah, Rastafari,
Rastafari.
Holy Emmanuel, Selassie,
Rastafari.
Jah, Rastafari.
Rastafari.
Yes, my
Yes, my
Lord.
Lord. Honorable. Give thanks, Honorable Priest Bailey, for the historical, account. Give thanks for, telling your side of the story, your truth. Yeah, give thanks for all the work that the eye has put in, towards, the liberation of Black people,
Most
through,
natural.
yeah, through the missions that, the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards sent the eye on, and, even beyond his transition, I guess, continuing to agitate to the UN. I and I do give thanks, for the I effort, and all good things said and done, on account of Black people towards our total liberation and freedom, So, yes, my Lord, thanks for sharing again. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for taking the time. Maybe we can have you again some other time, in the future. But for now, we do appreciate it. And there's a lot to be taken from this interview, a lot of different parts that ones and ones can review to understand what has happened, throughout the course of time, especially the Gospel Bells mission information that you shared. And maybe some other time we can maybe even go into it a little further still. But yeah, at this point, I would give thanks to the guests, the viewers for tuning in. Thanks for listening, and I encourage ones and ones to share, feedback, comments in the comments section on the video. We do respond to them. We do read them, and I'm in contact with the Honorable Priest. So if you have anything you want to say to him, leave a comment and I'll share it with him, and we can reason still. And yeah, so give thanks again, my Lord and Empress, our strength and powers as we are into what they call the Holy Week, the week of the crucifixion and the resurrection of the Black Christ, sealing up the Lent season, the 40 days plus of praying and fasting in the wilderness. Yeah, so give thanks for all things fulfilled within the Lent tradition, and give thanks for the Black Christ salvation, same way still, and give thanks for the knowledge of the resurrection, and the fact that the evil world could not kill Christ, yeah, and that he rose a victor over the dark domain, for
Most
our sake,
natural.
yes, I. So glorify and give thanks again, my Lord and Empress, our strength and powers until we reason again. Blessed love. I'm the Honorable Prophet Daniel, and this is the African Liberation Network. And we're reporting to you on behalf of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, Church of Divine Salvation. Give thanks again. Blessed love.
My Lord and Majesty.
Honor.